Welcome to part one of our series, Building a Brand Online, Why and How. Hi, I'm Clint Teepee. I am the CEO of Nexus Growth Coaching. I've been helping small businesses achieve their goals for about 10 years now through digital marketing. And this is really kind of an umbrella topic, and that a lot of what we do kind of falls under this, and it's really, involved with the execution and so forth. So this is one of roughly a three-part series. Let's get started. Quick overview. We're going to talk about why you should focus on brand building in general. We're going to talk about branding misconceptions. And then in the next part of the series, stay tuned because we're going to talk about how you should build a brand online and what you should be doing rather than focusing on those popular misconceptions. We're going to talk about search types. We're talking like internet searches here, Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc., and take it from there. All right, so why should you work on brand building if you're a startup, if you're an entrepreneur that has something on the side, whatever the case may be, why do you want to focus on that? Well, it's because you want people coming to you rather than you having to seek people out constantly. I mean, outreach is fine, advertising is fine, and we use both of those tactics, but when you can get people coming to you because you're known as the industry expert or you're the local, go-to place, that makes things so much easier. It's much easier to get money in the door. So yeah, you really just want to be actively sought out by prospects. That's really the easiest way to bring in new business. All right, so we do love expert quotes. So it's time for our friend Cash Money Sloth. He confirms dollar bills, y'all. That's how you make the money. All right, so let's do it. Okay, how do you accomplish this though? How do you get people to come to you and seek you out? For this to happen, two things, two key components. All right, they need to know who you are. If they're not aware of you, if they don't know you exist, obviously they're not going to come and track you down. Secondly, they need to know very clearly what problems you help solve. If you don't make it clear as what you do, hey, we're Acme Incorporated, fade to black. Okay, that doesn't tell anybody anything. So you need to be really clear about what you're doing. A good formula for that, is to talk about helping who do what. Okay, we help small businesses accomplish their growth goals. All right, bam, you have some idea of what we do now, and that way you kind of know if you're in our target demographic, if there is potential for us to work together or not. If not, that's fine. But if you are, we want that to click. We want that to really sink in, and for you to then desire to want to learn a little more about us and engage with us further. All right, moving on to branding misconceptions. Common misconceptions, again, not facts, but these are misconceptions. A logo is the most important part of your brand. Generating awareness just for its own sake is a good, profitable goal. And if you build it, they will come. That could apply to storefronts, websites, anything like that. If you you create something, you expect that people will, stop by or partake of it. Not necessarily true. Here's why. All right, logos. Think of Chevy. It's a blue bow tie. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Apple. Okay, I mean, these are both, multi-bajillion-dollar companies, extremely successful. Logo doesn't really have a whole lot to do with their brand. I mean, you recognize it, you know what it is, and now, after they've done tons and tons of marketing and advertising over decades, but originally, what did that have to do with anything? So you don't have to spend a lot of time if you're starting out, you're trying to get your brand together and organized. Just use some sort of logo. Just make it professional and presentable. It doesn't have to be, this huge big ordeal that you spend $5,000 on. It really doesn't. All right, generating awareness just for its own sake is a fantastic way to burn up lots of money and not get much result for it. So we're talking like billboards, radio ads, things like that. If your target market are just kind of general consumers and you have a very popular product that almost anybody could use, those specific outlets can be fine. It's not that there's anything wrong with those outlets themselves, but there's no targeting, right? Or, very little. So that's why in the digital realm with digital marketing and advertising, we have the capability to really focus in on particular types of audiences or people that have certain interests, fit in certain demographics. There's a lot we can do to really just, laser focus in on the right people. And that helps you get a better return on your ads and on your marketing efforts. It's really critical for growth. Last part, if you build it, they will come. Not if you don't stand out. if you are not unique, if you're just kind of humdrum, especially if your industry is somewhat commoditized and there's a dozen of you in the same city or something like that, you really had to do something to be unique, to have that unique value proposition and to stand out. Because if you don't give people a reason to further interact with you or seek you out, I mean, they're not going to. People don't just wake up and look for something, a new business and interact with. I mean, how many times, even when you've wanted to, say you've heard half a dozen times from your friends about a new restaurant across town, but you never make it over there. It takes months to do so. Even when people have the intention to, and there really has to be something to drive them to actually do that. So, all right, that concludes part one. Join us next time for, instead of focusing on these misconceptions, learn what you should be doing to build your brand. I'm Clint Teepee with Nexus Growth Coaching.